Henle Vocabulary, Lesson 24, Part 1. The first word we come across is qui, quae, quod, which is a word you're going to be learning quite a bit about in this lesson, and it means who, which, or that, and other variations, whose or whom. Our next word is auxilium, auxilii. Now, auxiliary is an actual word in English, and it's used to describe someone who is there to help. So if you can remember the word auxiliary, it might help you remember that this word means help or aid. And now if you have more than one auxilium, someone who is there to help, auxilia, auxiliorum, then what is that? Well, that is reinforcements. So you can see that basically what they're saying is if you want to make help or aid plural, then don't say helps or aids because, well, that's just awkward. Say reinforcements because that's what we're trying to say. We're talking about backup here. All right, our next word is Memoria, Memoriā. This word's pretty easy to remember because, well, you can kind of see the word in the Latin word. It means memory. Our next word is Memoria combined with teneo, tenere, tenui, tentus. So if you have these two words together, then this means keep in memory or remember. Now this word is actually pretty easy to remember if you can remember the literal translation of these two words together. So Memoria we just saw means memory, right? Teneo means I hold. So if you hold a memory, what are you actually doing? Well, you are keeping something in your memory. You're holding it there, or you're just remembering it. Our next word is ad. This word's pretty easy to remember just because of the sheer amount of times you actually end up using it in Latin. It means to, until, or at, and it goes with accusative. It also sometimes goes with for, and you'll see a couple of adjectives we're about to learn where it combined with that adjective it means for. This is a very directional preposition, so if you can remember that it kind of has that movement, then it also helps you remember that this means to, until, at, and sometimes for. All right, our next word is usque. This word is pretty easy to remember just because it rhymes with its meaning. Usque means all the way. Our next word is pervenio, pervenīre, pervenī, perventum. This word is pretty easy to remember if you can see the literal translation of the word, because we have two words here combined. We have venio, which remember means I come, and then per, which means through. So I come through. So if you can imagine yourself coming through a gate or coming through someone's door into their house, you'll know you have arrived. Our next word is Pertineo, Pertinēre, Pertinuī. This word is also kind of a combined word type of thing. We have teneo, which means I hold, and then per, through. I hold through. So if something holds through, it is consistent, right? This word's a little bit tricky because its meanings are a little bit strange. It means pertain to or stretch to. So pertain to is kind of already a big word in English. Pertain just means it has to do with something. So if you and your friends are having a conversation about flowers and say you want to start talking about roses, well, roses pertain to the conversation about flowers because they are in the category of flowers. So that's kind of what this word means, is pertain. You can also kind of see that word, that English word in the word, pertain, pertineo. This word also means stretch to, and that's usually used in the context of bridges when they're stretching to the other side. So try to think of the word pertain and also the literal I hold through, and hopefully you can remember that this means pertain to or stretch to. Our next word is Parātus. Aum is an adjective, and you can kind of see what it means right there in the Latin word. It means prepared. And notice we have this for, prepared for. That's because this adjective is often used with the preposition ad, and the ad is usually translated as for in this context. So remember when we learned ad, it said for with adjectives, with some adjectives, like this one, Parātus, prepared for. And then we have utilis. This word is easy to remember if you can think of a utility tool, like a hammer. Utility tools are called utility tools because they are very useful. This word is also another word that can be used with add, and the add will be translated as for. Useful for, but that's not always the case. That's just sometimes. That's why we have the parentheses there. All right, and our last word is nox noctis. This word is easy to remember if you can think of the word nocturnal. If something is nocturnal, then it stays awake at night and sleeps during the day. Nox noctis means night. Okay, let's see if we can go back through these vocab words and see if we can remember what they mean. All right, our first word is qui, quae, quod. You remember what this one means? This word means who, and then different variations of it are whose, whom, which, or that. Then we have auxilium, auxilii, which means help or aid. And then the plural version of the same word, auxilia, auxiliorum, which means reinforcements. Then we have Memoria, Memoriā, which means memory. Memoria combined with teneo. Don't forget the literal translation. I hold a memory, right? This means keep in memory or remember. And then we have add, the good old preposition, which means to, until, at, and sometimes for, combined with some adjectives. Then we have usque, which means all the way. Pervenio, pervenīre, pervenī, perventum. This one means arrive. And then we have Pertineo, Pertinēre, Pertinuī. This is the tricky one. It means pertain to or stretch to. Then we have Parātus, which means prepared for. And then we have utilis. Note that this is a third declension adjective. This means useful for. And finally, we have nox noctis, which means night. Great job, guys. Work hard to memorize these words, and you'll do great in Lesson 24.